Hey guys, welcome to another class with me, Sean-Haleen, and today's class is going to be chest openers that will change your life. And I'm going to share with you some of my favorite ways of getting the chest to open, the middle back to engage, and really just to get the whole spine to feel good. So you will need a block today, as well as a strap or a belt. And if you have a bolster, great. But if you don't have a bolster, you can use something like a thick blanket or a thick pillow, anything that just has like a relative amount of padding that you can use. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and if I didn't say already, can't remember, you'll need some wall space to begin and to end. So we're gonna start up against a wall. So I'm gonna use this wall, and I'll mirror you. We're gonna start with some of my favorite shoulder stretches and pec openers. You're gonna take your right hand, and I want you to stand and place your right hand on the wall behind you. So sometimes when I teach this stretch, people will put the hand 90 degrees out, and this is fine, but I want you to have the arm behind you and the palm against the wall. Another thing that people tend to do in this pose, they'll jam their whole body up against the wall. You'll notice that I'm standing a little bit away. So now from here, push your palm into the wall. And when you push your palm into the wall, you'll notice the elbow bends just a little tiny bit. Now keep doing that, and I want you to take your upper arm bone up here, roll your upper arm bone back, then bring your awareness to your shoulder blade, your scapula, it's on your back, and then take your scapula and shoulder blade, same one and another, take the shoulder blade down your back ever so slightly. And you might notice when you take your shoulder blade down your back, your hips and your ribs might do weird things, or your head. Keep the hips and the ribs steady, but just draw the shoulder blade down slightly. Breathe. And then release your right arm down. Then because I'm in this weird configuration, to do the other side, I'm just going to step over here. We'll do the left hand. You'll take your left hand on the wall behind you. Again, to add a little bit of active engagement, but also just to protect the inner elbow, push the palm into the wall. So there's just the tiniest of bend into the elbow, tiniest a bit of engagement into the inner arm, the pec, the bicep as well. Roll your upper arm bone back, then take your shoulder blade down. And again, that last part is particularly difficult, especially trying not to compensate by moving the hips and the ribs, but do your best and breathe. You're probably feeling quite an intense stretch across the front of the pec right now. All right. Then go ahead and release your left arm. Now we're gonna go back to the first side with the right arm, but this time, instead of putting the palm flat on the wall, you're gonna turn your palm up like you're holding a tray of something. Take the arm again behind you, against the wall, and you'll have your pinky finger placed against the wall, kind of like you're karate chopping as well. Now this will intensify it a little bit because this creates a deeper external rotation of the upper arm. We're going to do the same thing. Take your upper arm bone, roll it back. Take your shoulder blade, pull it down just a little bit. The movement down is small, but it's intense. Then, if you're at home and you're like, wow, I feel like I've got more space, most of us don't, you can turn your feet just a little bit away from the wall, but make sure when you do that, the upper arm bone doesn't sneak up, the hips and the ribs don't start doing weird things. You're really just focused on getting the front of the pec to open and kind of the back of the shoulder blade muscles to engage. And then release. One more time in the stretch. Take your left palm behind you. Palm face up, pinky finger against the wall. You're standing in front of the arm. Okay. Then roll your upper arm bone back. And then before you take the shoulder blade down, bring your awareness to your hips and your ribs. Try to keep them more or less steady. Take the shoulder blade down. You'll feel your lat fire. Among other things. Your serratus, all these fun shoulder blade muscles. And then if you did on the first side, you can turn your feet just a little bit. A lot of us can turn the feet and let this happen. I don't want you to let that happen with the upper arm bone. Keep it back and down and breathe. Okay, and then release. So we're going to use the wall just for a little bit longer before we start moving, but you'll need your block And then in a moment, you'll need your strap. Okay, so I'm going to place my strap just off to the side here. And then I'm going to take my block. So if you're trying to use something other than a block, it's just not going to work. You have to use a block. Ideally, a cork block, but a foam or a wood block would work as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your block and you're going to place it between your chest and the wall. Now, especially if you're a woman, you want to make sure that it's high enough above the chest, but not all the way up into the collarbones. Kind of right here, we would call this maybe the middle sternum, right in this general vicinity. So I'm going to take the block, place it against the wall, lift up onto your tiptoes. So your heels come way up off the ground, maybe about 2 feet away from the wall. And then I want you to lean forward. And again, push the block right into the chest. Now, from here, slowly take your arms up. And then if you take your arms up and the block kind of pivots a little bit, go ahead and adjust it. You want to make sure that the block is flush against the wall. I need to adjust it just a little bit higher. Then with your arms up, hook your thumbs, and I want you to push your chest into the block, and you'll start to feel your middle back really wake up. Push your chest into the block, stretch the arms, breathe. Heels up, work the legs. Now bring your hips forward just a little bit. And go ahead and release. So if you're using a wood block, you might have noticed, ouch, that was a lot of intensity between the bone of my chest, the block. So maybe you take a blanket, you put something soft over it. If this is just overall too much intensity, right, or too confusing, whatever, you can just do these poses like this without the block. But if you can find the right placement and the right work, this is an amazing way to get the middle back to open and engage. So we're going to do that same one more time. I found that when I'm doing these things, the first time is always just kind of figuring it out a little bit, and then the second time you can really get into it. So the further your feet are away, the more intense it becomes. So you can try taking your feet maybe a little further, stay up on your heels. And obviously if you take your feet further, the block will be lower. And you'll almost always need to adjust it up a little bit when you take the arms up. And then arms up, hook your thumbs, push your chest into the block, straighten your arms. Oh. Hips forward just slightly, breathe. And then release. So you'll also notice your legs are working, especially when you bring your hips forward, your core begins to work. I shake a little bit. Okay, so this next one, this final one that we'll do against the wall for now, is by far my favorite. It's quite intense. You'll need your strap. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my strap, slide it over my shoulder. So we'll do the block one more time. Same place. Let's call it middle sternum. And come up onto the heels. Also, you might notice that my feet are nice and wide. So lean forward, bring the chest to the block. This time, once you find the right placement, stay there, heels are up. You're going to take your arms behind you, grab onto the strap, then move the arms back, holding onto the strap, and press your hips forward a little bit. Push your chest into the block. Stretch the arms back, hips forward, heels up. And slowly release. And come on out. Okay. My prediction is that 75% of you that just did that loved it. You want to keep doing work like that. The other 25% of you are just like, that was the worst thing ever. I'm going to turn off this video right now. Bear with me. It'll get better if you're in that 25%. All right, so now let's come up to the standing at the front of the mat. Oh, I already feel so much taller. Inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Hook your thumbs overhead. Lift up tall. Notice the difference in the outer shoulders and the back of the chest already. Exhale, come to a standing forward bend. Touch the floor. Step your right leg to the back of your mat. Come high up onto your fingertips. Inhale here, and then exhale, twist your left arm up to the sky. Breathe. Just a simple twist, not too much instruction here. Inhale, release your left hand. Switch sides. Step your right leg forward. Step your left leg back. Again, wait for your exhalation. Stay up on your left fingers and twist your right arm up to the sky. This should also feel nice after that middle back work we just did. Inhale, release. This time, step back, downward facing dog pose. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Oh, my clothes are getting smaller the longer I have a baby. Okay, now take your feet as wide as your sticky mat. Spread your fingers nice and even. Bring a generous bend to your knees. With your knees bent, push down and forward with your hands. And then right where the block was, across the center of your chest, I want you to move your chest back towards your thighs. But then lift the undersides of your arms with your chest moving back. And then lift your heels up. Come way up onto your tiptoes. But again, imagine you still have that block across the front of the chest. Press the chest back, arms up. Then begin to straighten your legs. All right, walk or jump to the front of your sticky mat. Standing forward bend. Inhale, rise all the way up, stretch up. Exhale, hands to your sides. Inhale, reach back up again. Thumbs hooked. Exhale, fall to the ground. Step your right leg back again. Same as the last round, high up on your fingers. Exhale, twist your left arm up to the sky. And then inhale, release your left hand down. Switch sides, step your right leg forward. Left leg back. Wait for your exhale, and then exhale your right arm up to the sky. Nice open twist. Inhale, release your right hand. This time step into a high push-up, plank pose. Pause in your plank. Pull your hips up, your thighs up. Shift forward a little bit onto your tiptoes, and then exhale, bend your elbows, come down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Flip your arms back by your sides with your palms on the ground. Now keep your palms down, keep your feet down. Lift your head and chest up, shoulders up. So I think some people call this Ardha Shalabhasana, half locust. Then lift your legs, squeeze your legs strong. Lift your arms, roll the upper arm bones back. Take your shoulder blades slightly down your back. Then place your hands and feet down, rise up to a cobra pose. Exhale, lower back down. Curl your toes under, press up and back, downward dog. From downward dog, bend your knees, look forward, walk or jump to the front of your sticky mat. Exhale to your forward bend. Ooh. Inhale, rise on up, stretch up. Exhale, hands to your sides. All right, let's do a few sun salute variations just to get nice and warm. At the front of your mat, inhale your arms up. Interlace every finger except your pointer and thumb, Kali Mudra. Exhale, side bend to your right. Shift your hips left. Inhale, back up. Exhale, side bend left. Hips to your right. One more round each side. Inhale up. Exhale to the right. Keep the right side of your chest pointing forward. Inhale through the center. And then exhale to your left. This time, left chest turns more forward. Inhale through the center. Arms up to the sky. Exhale. Standing forward, bend. Touch the ground. Inhale, lengthen your chest. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step your right leg to the back of your mat. Lower your right knee. Keep your right toes tucked under. And then inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Turn your palms forward. Bend your elbows out to 90 degrees. Now, like the very first thing we did in class, take your upper arm bones, roll them back. Take your shoulder blades and draw them down ever so slightly. Now, push your shoulder blades up into your chest. Lift your chest. Move your hips forward. Then inhale your arms up. Hook your thumbs and go as tall as you can. Exhale, hands to the ground. Downward dog. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up as you inhale. Let's do one knee to chest to wake up the abdominal muscles. Pause. Pull your knee in, round your spine. Inhale, stretch your right leg back and up. And then exhale your right foot forward. Left knee down again, keeping your back toes tucked under. Inhale your arms to the sky. Exhale, bend your elbows, cactus arms. Turn the upper arm bones back. Take the shoulder blades down, but then push your shoulder blades up into your chest. So you should feel a little lift right where the block was, like you were pushing the block up into something. Then, pushing your chest into the block rather. Then hips forward, arms up, thumbs hooked. Stretch. Oh, yes. Exhale your hands to the ground. Step forward to the stop of your sticky mat and fold in. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale your hands to your sides. All right, one more round like that. Inhale your arms up. This time, take the opposite interlace of your mudra, Kali mudra. Stretch up. Exhale to your right. Inhale through the middle. Exhale to your left. One more each side. Inhale up. Exhale. Try to keep the arms straight. Go to your right. Inhale, center. Exhale one more time to your left. Woo. Come on back up. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale. Fold to the floor. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, this time step your left leg back. Left knee down. Toes tucked under. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend. Upper arm bones back. Shoulder blades down. Then shoulder blades forward. Push the chest up into an imaginary block. Hips forward now. Arms up and thumbs hooked. Exhale, hands to the ground. Downward dog. With the breath, inhale to plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Final one, take your left leg up. And then as you exhale, curl your knee to your chest. Pause. Lift the knee, claw your fingertips. Inhale, stretch back with your left leg. And then exhale your left foot through. Right knee down. Back toes curled. One more round like this, arms up. Exhale, bend. Upper arm bones back. Shoulder blades down. Shoulder blades forward, chest pushes up into an imaginary block. Keep that, sit deeply. Then arms up, thumbs hooked. Exhale your hands to the floor, step to the top of your sticky mat. Uttanasana, forward bend. All right, make sure your feet are separated about hips distance. Bend your knees. Utkatasana, everyone's favorite pose to love and hate. Stay in your chair, put your left hand on your thigh. Stretch up through your right waist. Now exhale, twist your right elbow outside of your thigh. Fold your palms. Lower your butt. Push your elbow down, twist your chest. Don't worry about keeping your hips square. That's so yoga in 2005. We don't care about that as much anymore because it's not as healthy. I'll do a whole class on that soon. Now inhale, keep your hips low. Back up to chair pose, you can do it. Put your right hand on your right thigh, stretch up to your left waist. And then exhale, twist. Hook your left elbow outside of the thigh. Palms together, hips low. Do focus on turning mostly into your upper back. Take your top shoulder blade back, rib cage back. Inhale, hips low again, chair. Exhale, touch the floor. Standing forward fold. Stay in your forward fold. Let there be a little bend to your knees. Interlace your fingers, stretch your arms overhead. And then exhale, release your hands to the ground. Step back. Downward facing dog, please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. All right. Now, from here, come down onto all fours. So we're going to be working through some various knees, chest, chin variations today. And I first, when I'm going through this pose, like to teach what I call knees, chest, chin, without the chest and the chin. A, it's really great, especially if you have neck concerns, and B, it's very helpful for learning how to keep your shoulders and neck safe in the actual pose. So I want you to start on all fours. Maybe have your knees just a smidgen behind your hips. Now either come up onto fingertips or fists. If fingertip work is really hard for you, then definitely do fists. But either way, I want you to come up on your fingers or fists and take your hands just a little wider apart. Now you're going to keep your butt up. As you exhale, begin to bend your elbows a little bit out to the right and to the left. Now shift forward. So I want you to imagine we were going to go all the way into the pose where you could put your chest down, and the chest would come down between your hands and your head would be in front of your hands. So start to bend your elbows. Come forward, keep your butt up. Elbows out to the sides. Butt up, chest drops again, head is forward. Now pause, maybe about a foot away from the ground. Shoulder blades hugging, butt is lifting, head is coming forward, and then slowly come on up. Release, you can sit on your heels. If sitting on your heels is difficult, you can stand on your knees, give yourself a moment to break. So a lot of times when people come down into this pose, it's the same with chaturanga, they come down and start to put their head down like this, which forces basically everything in your shoulder girdle up into your neck and congests a lot of places we don't want congested in this pose. So coming forward is paramount. Now we're going to do knees, chest, chin one more time without the chest and the chin. So fun. I'll do fists this time. I like both actually. All right. So butt stays lifted. Bend your elbows, come forward. Come forward, forward, forward. So you're going to be feeling a lot of work in your upper back, and your shoulders. All right, deep stretch in your chest. Now some of you might come down and hover your chin and chest just an inch off the ground. Don't let them touch. Just hover them. And then slowly straighten. Again, stand on your knees or sit on your heels. Take a moment. That is quite intense. Let's go back to a downward dog now. For all intents and purposes, that variation is harder than the actual pose, but it teaches the actions of keeping the shoulders strongly on the back. So it's all downhill from here. Take your right leg up into the air. Exhale. Please step your right foot between your hands. Keep your back knee off the ground. And bring your hands up to your front thigh, just preparing for a high lunge. And then inhale, sweep your arms up. Put your right hand onto your right thigh. Go ahead and really arc just a little bit over to your side to get a beautiful stretch across your left waist. And then exhale, come into your twist. Hook your left elbow outside of your thigh. Fold your palms together and then turn your chest, rib cage upward. Then hug your outer hips and inner thighs together. Rise back up to a high lunge. Yes. Thumbs hooked. Extend. And then exhale your hands down to the ground. From here, lower your left knee and pat it as needed. Turn your right foot out about 30 degrees. Come up onto your left fingertips again and twist your right arm up to the sky. Circle your right arm back and catch a hold of your left foot for a twisted thigh stretch. Now as you grab your foot and turn your chest up, if you've got the space to, I want you to move your left hand further off to the left and kind of lean open a little bit, really working on lifting and turning upward through your middle spine. Now wherever you are in this pose, for the last few breaths, I want you to kick your foot back into your hand, but then pull the hand back into the foot. And keep that relationship going for a little bit while you twist up. Inhale and release. Exhale back to downward dog. This is fun. It's fun work. Take your left leg up. And then exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Come on up slowly for your high lunge. Here we go. Take both arms up. I think we did that, yeah. Then put your left hand on your left thigh. Take a moment here and just do a little side bend over to your left to get the right waist right so as to extend. Exhale, twisted lunge. Not a lot of detail in these twisting and lunging poses. We're just mainly using these to kind of prepare for more back bend chest openers. Good to alternate some twisting and hip opening so that the spine doesn't get too seized and overworked. To come out, squeeze the inner thighs, outer hips in. Rise up slowly from the strength of your legs. Stretch up and then exhale your hands to the floor. Lower your right knee. Turn your left toes out. Twist your left arm up. Circle your left arm back. Catch a hold of your right foot. Draw the foot in as much as you're able and turn your top shoulder back. If you did on the first side, ooh, I have to move a little bit. If you did on the first side, move your bottom hand over to the side. So over to the right. Twist and roll your chest up. And then for the best part, for the last few breaths, kick your foot into your hand, but then pull the hand back into the foot and turn, 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 kick, and pull, and kick, and breathe. Inhale, release. Place your hands back to a downward facing dog pose. All right. Then come down onto all fours. So we know a lot of people have probably done knees, chest, and chin. We're going to do first we're going to do the classic pose. Then in a little bit we'll do some advanced variations. Intermediate advanced variations. So first thing I want you to do is watch. And let me clarify, knees, chest, chin is not an alternative to chaturanga. It's often taught like that, but knees, chest, chin is a deep back bend, and it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the neck if you're not properly warmed up in the shoulder girdle and the middle back. If you're looking for an alternative to full chaturanga, knees down, but not chest and chin. So watch really quick. So you'll start on hands and knees just a little bit behind the hips. Butt stays lifted. If you come down and your butt comes down, that pushes the weight of the pose deeper and deeper into your neck. So you keep the butt up, bend your elbows, and then again watch, super important, chest comes down between the thumbs, head is in front of the hands. All right, so now let's do this together and I'll talk you through some instructions once we're in the full pose. So hands and knees behind your hips, butt lifted, bend your elbows out to the sides a little bit, come forward, chest comes down to the floor between your thumbs. Make sure your butt is still up. If it dropped too much, you can inch your knees forward a little. Now, roll your upper arm bones back, squeeze your shoulder blades on your back. And instead of just resting your chest on the floor, push your chest down into the ground as if you were pushing it into a block like we did at the beginning of class. Upper arm bones back, shoulders back, butt up. Now, just to come out, straighten your arms, do a cat pose, counter movement, sit on your heels or stand on your knees, and breathe for a moment. So super intense pose, right? Not something you would just kind of do as a side thought or a modification of another pose. All right, I think that went well. Well, I don't know. I think you did well, or I hope you did. Let's go back to downward facing dog. Teaching to a recording is weird. All right, from downward dog, take your right leg into the air. Again, lift your left heel up, bend your right knee, and turn your hips open to the right slightly. So just a fire hydrant dog for a moment. And then straighten your right leg and sweep your right foot forward between your hands. Take your hands up to your front thigh. Inhale your arms up. Like we did before, right hand to the right thigh. Lengthen out your left waist. Exhale, twisted lunge. Palms together. Push your bottom elbow down to help you lift and rotate your upper waist. Squeeze the arms and squeeze the legs, outer hips, inner thighs in. Rise back up. Thumbs hooked. Exhale your hands to the floor. Now it's going to change a little bit. Lower your left knee down, padding your knees needed, but this time take your hands up to your front thigh. Reach back with your left hand, bend your left knee and grab your left foot. Draw your foot in with any grip you know. Level 2, flip the palm over the toes to Vikasana grip. Now, bring the left hip, left waist forward, right hip, right waist back. Inhale, sweep your right arm up by your right ear. Keep your chest lifted. Inhale here and then exhale, sit down through your front thigh. Ooh, I can only move maybe half an inch forward. Keep the upper back extending. Then release your right hand, release your left foot. Bring both hands down to either side of your front foot, and then wiggle, 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 wiggle the right foot forward. Come up onto your right heel, half split, not full split. Oh, I see some of you back at home like, ooh, I'm gonna go to full splits. No, you're not prepared for it. Don't do full splits. We're hardly prepared for half splits. So up on your fingers, or you can grab your block or blocks. Lengthen your upper back. Engage your right quads. Turn your left hip a little more forward. Making sure the hamstrings and the outer hips are released a little bit can really help with openness in the lower back for back bends. So hopefully this should help a bit with that. Then slowly drag your right heel back to a downward facing dog. Inhale, now take your left leg into the sky. Whoa, that was a long sequence. Lift your right heel, stack your left hip on top of your right, turn your hips to the left. Fire Hydra Dog for a mere moment. Then exhale, step your left foot forward between your hands. Arms up. Crescent lunge. Left hand to your left thigh. Take a moment here, lengthen your right waist. One more twisted lunge for the day. Cross the elbow over, palms together. Take your top shoulder back, press your bottom elbow down, and turn. Again, when you come up, don't use momentum. Use the hugging in of the legs, outer hips, inner thighs, and rise from the strength of the center of your pelvis. Arms up, thumbs hooked. And then exhale, release your hands to the floor. Right knee down. Hands to your front thigh. And then reach back, grab your right foot. Again, don't be too overly concerned with the grip. Just take whatever grip you know to draw the foot in. Right hip forward, left hip back. Even out the waist as best as you can, pointing forward. And then swoop the arm. As you swoop the arm, lift the upper chest. Sit down through your front thigh, keeping the lift in the upper chest. Back. Release your left hand. Release your right foot. Hands to either side of your front foot. Half splits. Again, half splits. Lengthen your upper back. Engage your left quads. And breathe. I think we've got a hamstring class coming up soon, so don't you worry. Okay, slowly drag back and come out. Downward facing dog pose. Alrighty, come down onto all fours. So one more variation of knees, chest, chin. This is not going to be appropriate for all of you. For those of you who found the standard version of the pose, the one we did last, really intense, maybe even overwhelming, never go on beyond with an intense, further intense variation if you're ever really struggling in the current variation you're doing. So I'd recommend watching first because kind of hard to see what's going on if you're in this pose. So watch the variation. You'll have your strap nearby, kind of on the side of your mat. Same thing. Here we go. Butt stays up, goes down. Then upper arm bones lift, shoulder blades squeeze. And come up. Now I know those, I think those sounds made it sound like I was actually suffering, but those were good sounds. All right, so let's try it together now. Grab your strap. If you intend on trying this next variation, come onto all fours. Start to bend your elbows, bring your chest forward, chin down. So wait, let me just say, sorry you guys, come up for a second. I meant to say, if this is all just too much on your neck, I want you to do knees, chest, chin without the chest and the chin down, okay? So for those of you who are newer to these poses, you might just be working here, all right? All right, so now, my apologies. Let's go for the next variations. Bend your elbows, bring your chest down, chin down, butt stays lifted. Now pause here. Make sure your upper arms are lifted, gaze is forward, grab your strap, hold onto the strap, stretch your arms up. Release the strap, both hands down, straighten your arms, cat pose, round your back. Oh yeah, all right. That just gets into my middle back like very few other things can. So let's stay on our knees now for a moment, but I'm going to turn to face the long end of your mat. This is just going to help with some of the final stuff that we do. Standing on your knees, I'll mirror you again. Take your left leg, step your left foot out. We'll do gatekeeper pose. Line up your left heel with your right knee. And then put your left foot flat. Whichever direction it goes, doesn't matter for today. But put your left foot flat. Not a lot of instruction here again. This is just to get the spine to open. Stretch your left arm as far down as your leg as you can. Turn your chest up. And then stretch your top arm past your ear. Turn your bottom chest, bottom waist up. And then inhale, come on up. We'll switch sides. Bring the left leg in, step your right leg out. Make sure you don't step your foot out so much that the standing hip, your left hip here, moves in of the knee. Make sure it stays over the knee. And then let's call this very little instruction, Parigasana. Stretch the arm down, stretch your top arm overhead, turn your bottom chest up. Oh. And then inhale, come on up. That's so nice. We'll do it twice. All right, left leg out. Line up your left heel with your right knee. Right hip is directly over your knee. Left arm extends. Top arm stretches. Turn your bottom waist up. Enjoy. Although not necessarily the most exciting or feel-good pose, this is a great pose for elasticizing, if that's a word, your spine for back bends. Especially prone back bends like we're gonna do. Come back up, bring your left leg in, and switch sides. Right leg out, final time. Left hip stays over the knee, right arm goes down. Parigasana, gatekeeper pose. Bottom chest rolls up, top elbow straightens to the best of your ability. And then inhale, come on up. Let's make our way back to downward facing dog. From downward dog, we haven't done a vinyasa in a while, and here I'm going to show you why we'll do one. Come to plank pose. Exhale, lower down. Now go into cobra or upward facing dog. And I want you to just feel the difference in your chest or your upper back. Hopefully it feels quite lovely. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Okay, one more hip opener before we start our grand finale. Swing your right shin forward to pigeon pose. And then once you've set up your pigeon pose, we're going to take a twisted pigeon to our left. So bring your right elbow down. The further your elbow goes over to your left, the more intense. So adjust accordingly. And breathe. My favorite thing to do in this twist is to lift the back knee and inch the leg back a little bit. Inhale, release, unwind, back to downward dog. Left shin forward, pigeon or pigeon for feeling fancy. And exhale, twist, left elbow down this time. If you walked the right knee back on the first side, go ahead and do so on this side. All right, and then inhale, unwind. From here, you can just kind of come on out. So now we're going to go to the wall. We'll finish at the wall. I'm going to bring my mat this time. I would recommend you do the same. Fits just perfect. This house was built for me to do this. Okay, so now what you'll need is all of the things. Your bolster or your pillow or a couple thick blankets, your strap, and then your block. So this is although most of the wall work we're doing today is quite intense, and I'm going to give alternatives if you go to try this work and it's just way too much. So the bolster is padding for your pelvis, all right? And believe me, especially for the guys out there, you will need a lot of padding. Now, if we go back to that very first thing that we did with the wall, including the block, This is essentially the same thing, but we're intensifying. We're taking it up a notch and doing it in cobra. So watch first really quick. The hardest part about this for a lot of people is just finding the right placement. So I bring my pelvis to the bolster, and then I bring my chest to the block. And then you want to be able to be close enough and high enough up that you can push the chest into the block like this. Okay? So go ahead, and we're going to start with this variation. All right? So bring the bolster underneath your pelvis, bring the block to the chest like this, and then just come up onto your fingertips, roll your shoulders back, and push your chest into the block. Okay? Again, you can do fists if fingertips is too much. Upper arms back, shoulders back, maybe even straighten your knees a little bit. If that's too much on your lower back, you can keep the knees bent. Again, you're not resting. Push the chest forward into the block. All right, then come on out, release. All right. Hopefully you're doing okay. So a couple of things. If that was good, but really intense for you, you're going to stick with that variation. If this is just way too much on your wrists, your back, your neck, etc., the next round you're going to, instead of using the wall, you will lie down on your belly and you'll do a fingertip cobra instead. And just kind of forget about this using of the block against the wall. For all intents and purposes, I don't like using the phrases intermediate or advanced, but you certainly, if you were beginner to yoga, this would be really, really, really a stretch, pun intended, if you were newer to backbending or newer to yoga. So those of you wanting to move onward, you would bring your bolster a little bit closer to the wall, and you have to come a little higher up the wall. I haven't done this in a while. And then from here, you would reach back and either use your strap or interlace your fingers, oh my God, and push your chest into the block and stretch the arms back. Okay? So let's give that a shot. It's maybe my favorite chest opener, even though it's really intense. I would recommend using a strap. So either fingertip cobra, or the last one we did, or bring your bolster a little closer. And then you just gotta, I can't give you any rules of thumb. You just kinda gotta figure out the right height of the block that you'll be able to push your chest into the block and then also take your arms back. Oh my God, okay. And then come on out. So hopefully you found a variation that worked for you, that really got you to open beautifully into your upper back. I know it's a little tricky, that kind of work, especially since I can't see you, but keep practicing it, or never practice it again. Now, from here, let's lie down on our backs. You can move back to where you were. I'm just going to stay right where I am, why not? Lie down, bend your knees, put your feet on the ground, and just take a couple of windshield wiper twists, knees side to side. Oh, I am going to scooch over a little. Oh. Now, you're probably kind of done with backbending, but it would behoove me. Behoove you? Me. Well, I don't think I know what that word means. It would be nice to do one bridge pose, and you'll see why. So lift your hips, interlace your fingers, and walk your shoulders in, and tell me your chest is not just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And in fact, if you feel like you've got more energy and your back is not totally fatigued, try putting your hands by your ears and pushing up into a full back bend. And tell me it doesn't feel amazing. And then everyone come all the way down from whichever back bend you're in. Grab your strap, hopefully it's close by. Slide your strap around your right foot. Stretch your right leg up, left leg down. Supta Paramudasana. Start to release the back now. Let the breath slow. Switch sides. Left leg up, right leg down. We'll get into twisting in just a moment. I know you're probably dying for a twist. Keep both legs as straight as possible. And then release. Place your strap to the side again. Bend your knees. Put your feet on the ground. Scoot your hips about 6 inches to your left. Pick your knees up and take your knees over to your right. Now, right hand on top of your knee. Turn your upper body, including your head. Turn your head to the left. Oh, turn your upper back to the left. Try, it usually doesn't matter, I don't usually talk about it, but really try here to get your left shoulder all the way on the ground and turn your head, and that'll help release a lot of the, or counter a lot of the work we did today. Come back to center with the legs. Shift your hips to the right of middle. Take your knees up and over to your left. Oh, yeah. Oh. And then turn your upper body to the right again. Really try as hard as you can for today. Get your right upper arm and shoulder down to the ground. Then turn your head. Come back to center. I think we should do that one more time. Hips to the left, knees to the right. If you want, you can even cross your left knee over your right knee. But again, I want you to prioritize being able to keep the opposite shoulder, so your left shoulder down, and crossing your knees will make that harder. So same variation, or you can try crossing the knees, left shoulder down, and then turn your head to the left. Inhale, untwist, hips to the right. You cross the legs, this time right knee over the left knee. Oh, knees to the left, and then turn your head face. That's your head and your face. To the right, right shoulder down. Inhale, back to center. And then happy baby pose, just for a brief moment. Oh. Please join your knees and shins together. Wrap your arms across the front of your legs. Squeeze yourself into a little ball. Lift your head and shoulders off the ground. Round, 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 round. Round, 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 round. And then exhale and release Shavasana. Stretch your arms and legs out. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale. Relax. And just take a nice full breath in through your nose. And exhale. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. And then just lightly bend your knees one at a time. We'll gently over onto your side. And now push your way up to seated. So I hope some of those chest openers, as intense and maybe awkward at times as they were, maybe changed your life, because that is just, hopefully your middle back is feeling awake in ways that it's never felt awake before. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you have liked and subscribed it and you want to support me, send my channel or my videos to a yoga-loving friend or family member of yours. Hope to see you again real soon. Namaste. Thank you.